Hello, everybody, and welcome to Adobe Live. My name is Flynn. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners on which we are streaming our episode today and pay our respects to elders past, present, and emerging. We are live, so if you have any questions as we're rolling along, please don't hesitate to pop them in chat. We're live on Behance and we are live on YouTube. And I will attempt to pass them on to our amazing guest, Kristy Campbell from Pink Pony Creative. Hello, Kristy.
Hello, guys. Hello, Flynn. How's it going?
I'm good. It's great to catch up with you and do a live stream again.
Oh, so good. I'm excited to get into it. We've got a fun brand identity that we're going to be reimagining today. So I can't wait to get into it.
This is cool.
Yeah. Before we start, I thought I'd just do a little introduction for those of you who don't know me.
Brilliant.
I'm Kristy Campbell. I own Pink Pony Creative. It's a graphic design and brand identity design agency in Auckland, New Zealand. I've had it for like 4 years now, which is literally mind-blowing. But we create really bold, daring, out there brand identities for businesses worldwide. I thought I'd show you some of my work.
Let's check it out. We can see
always.
this one. Choose wisely. I love a nice pun in the name. That's cool.
We love it. So this is like just a really good little overview of like the stuff that I have created in the past. But now I have an agency with a team. So we do create a whole lot of work between all of us. So it's not just me anymore, which is awesome. But this is the stuff that I've created for businesses in the past specifically. But as you can see, it's so just bright, bold, but also like I can fluctuate between different styles, which I do feel really proud of. This one's very editorial style, very monochrome. But I'm all about the playfulness of brands as well, like trying to bring out that extra bit of character and how you can even find that character. So we're going to discover all of that today. That's for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, I cannot wait to geek out about branding with you. Yeah, you're right. This is a great selection of like quite different like outputs, like visually and like packages.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a really nice way just to introduce yourself on social media. Just have a bit of your work at the very top. So if people land on your page, they know exactly what they're getting.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm really like, I love design. And as someone who now has the agency, I don't actually design as much as I would like because I'm just managing a team in the business. But, creating this work that I've created for the Adobe Live today was so much fun. I literally felt myself, I was dreaming about it.
Oh, you got in the zone? You got in the
I got in the zone. Which I'm like, is that like crazy? I don't know. But I feel like designers will get it. They would understand.
I did that the other day. I got super distracted when I was supposed to be doing many other things, but I'm working on a brand for someone else and I'm going to document it. And I spent like 2 or 3 hours just designing and opening books and stuff. And I was like, stop it. You've got emails to get back to.
You get so excited and so into it. But I feel like that's the ideal situation because you're just like rolling out this creativity, like it's flowing and it's fantastic.
That's it.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we might as well jump into it. So today, I thought we could reimagine Pink Pony in a completely different industry. Now, Pink Pony, let's actually just jump onto my website just quickly, is it's quite bold, clean, modern in terms of the actual branding for Pink Pony. It's just very pink and white. We've got our bold fonts, our, sans serif typography with the same style logo. So I thought, let's flip it today and actually create Pink Pony, or what would Pink Pony be like for something in the food industry. And when I was trying to, brainstorm about this session, I was like, let's go with something that kind of has relevance to Pink Pony. And I thought, what kind of industry or like restaurant would have relevance? And I actually came out with Mexican for the idea of like, the Mexicans riding the horses and out and like, you've got your cowboy motifs, but then kind of the cactus runs in there too. So then that's how I came down to Pink Pony, but as like an upscale Mexican lounge. I thought it'd be a fun fusion of the brands.
Upscale Mexican. I don't know if I've seen that before. So I'm going to try and imagine it. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I just created a small brief for myself and then I actually just established a creative direction. So this is similar to what I would do for a brand identity process, I guess, for my clients. We would create a bit of a strategy, much more in depth than this, and then go forward and create 3 different mood boards. So in this case, I just put together one mood board, which I was really inspired by. So I wanted it to feel very like upmarket, but still playful through the pinks, and also like have a sort of style of the Mexican feel to it. It kind of goes on a bit of a journey when I create it, so it'll be an interesting watch. But before we actually get into the designing, I thought I'd show a couple of tricks with creative directions and mood boards. So especially with Firefly, with Adobe these days, you can literally like cater your images to exactly what you're looking for. And I think it's such a nice way to make your mood boards. So within this, the only image that wasn't created by AI, by Firefly, was actually this one. So we're talking about the photographs. So like this photograph, this one of the bull, this one of the drink, and this one of the cactus are all Firefly images. Could you guess that?
No,
or do they look real?
No, I mean something like quite complicated, like the space. At this, like, I think, if you zoom in and it's AI, you can see like a little bit of where it's kind of struggled. So that might have been my guess, but I would have thought the drink was a photo as well, because that's quite detailed.
It is very detailed. So it just goes to show like how the quality of Firefly these days. I just thought I'd mention too, like all of these design works, illustrations, and even this image were actually created. They're just references from images online, other artists. I found them on Pinterest. So they're purely just for reference for my creative direction. But let's quickly talk about Firefly in terms of how I got to those results.
Yeah.
So for the skeleton, I just wanted to create something that was the light pink background. I knew that I wanted it to have this pink aesthetic. The bull skeleton, I've already typed in a bit of a prompt here, and then let's go generate. The other thing I do like to do is be really specific about the content type. So we'll just go photo and let's see what this spits out. Hopefully it's going to be quick today. Oh, this is not not what I thought it was going to be. I wonder if it'll, but you can see the results that you get. Oh, I just typed in skeleton wrong there. Instead we got the full bull.
Oh my gosh, I did a live stream yesterday, and the amount of spelling I have to do on camera now, I was not prepared. I was not prepared for this.
Oh, it's stressful and terrifying at the same time. So I mean, something like this actually would work quite nicely. I don't know where the guy in the suit came from.
Yeah.
But that's creative. It's kind of cool, But they just work so nicely because you can be really specific. Like in these examples, I wanted the pink drink, the lines for the Mexican sort of flavors and things like that. So it's a great way to pull together creative direction if you're needing photography inspiration. Cool. The other thing I wanted to point out as well with creative directions, especially when you're working in InDesign, is there's this fun little feature that I will point out. So if you select your whole mood board and then group it, so this isn't actually grouped right now. Let's group it.
And we're in InDesign right now, aren't we? Yep.
Yeah, we're in InDesign specifically. You can do this in Photoshop, and I'm pretty sure you can actually do it in Illustrator too. But if we go extract from image and then color themes, it's gonna, it's on my other screen. Here we go. This can actually pull together like inspiration for your color palette.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's just a really quick, easy way if you're sort of stuck in your initial stages of creating that color palette from your mood board. This is a cool way to put that together. So you can go through, you can even select like the brights. It'll even pull out a muted color palette, and that's quite beautiful.
That's awesome.
So, yeah. Just a really nice way to grab those color palettes easily. You can save it into your CC libraries and then access it in Illustrator, which is great. We love.
That's a really cool tip. I like that. I'm writing that down because I did not know that.
Oh, it's a good one. It's a good tip. All right, let's get into the good stuff. So to start with, this is where my dream came into play. I literally dreamt of my concept. I've even got the paper here for you guys.
Hang on. I can bring that. I can make that bigger. Let's have a look at that.
Oh, we can make the bigger.
There we
go.
Awesome.
Woohoo. This was my illustration. It's like I feel like I'm at school presenting my work. These were only a couple of illustrations. So, if you're creating a brand, you'd certainly go through quite a few more. But for me, I really had the vision for this, especially because, whoa, the music.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Is that too loud? I was just trying to...
No, it's all right. I don't know if anyone else could hear that.
Trying to find the sweet spot.
No, that's fine. That's perfect. But yeah, when I create these, the sketches there was only a couple, and I felt like I'd already got to a point where I was happy with it.
Yeah. That happens
So
sometimes, right? Like you can sit down and you can go, actually, you know what? I know what pretty much it is. Like I can kind of, and as you said, if you're working for a client, you probably do your due diligence and
yes,
spend lots more time making sure that it was the right idea.
exactly. Yeah. So this is the part that I dreamt about. So when people ask, how do you be creative? I'm like, dream about it. I had the idea of, so a horse face, typically some horses have what they call a blaze, which is like the white strip down their face. And I thought it would be a cool way to create negative space with a wine glass, because this is a bar we're creating in the horse's blaze. Yeah. So that was sort of, I could really break it down and do like a word map of that, but you can see it's starting to be formed here. I added the flame, but interestingly enough, I actually don't end up with the flame, but I can show you how I got to that part of the process anyway.
Cool.
So
yeah, I love it. That's great. And I learned another thing, which was about horses, because I didn't know what it was.
Oh, exactly.
So that's great.
Exactly. I'm a crazy pony gal. So to start off with, especially for a brand mark like this, I really want it to be well structured, the line work to be really, really clean. I don't want it to have a hand-drawn look because I want it to feel elevated. I will actually start off by creating a bit of a base of the horse's face. And I think when there's something that it took me a while to understand when I create illustrations was it's literally just a breakdown of shapes. So if you can break down something into shapes, like this horse head, for example, you will ace your style.
Nice. We had a question from chat as well. Do you always start from a sketchbook with your process?
Not necessarily. I think it depends on the style that I'm going for. So if I'm going for a style that is, it really depends, because in some situations, even with illustrations, I might even just simply literally trace the illustrations, and that's the style that I want it to be in. Like it's a somewhat sketched, personable feel. So we're going to go through and start creating. So we're just going to basically map out the shapes of this that are in this horse, so that we can then go ahead and actually map out its whole face.
Nice. And by the way, anybody just tuning in, we are live, so we're taking questions as we roll along. We don't have like a Q&A, time set apart. So if you do have any questions for Kristy about, pardon me, what is being created today, or anything else, I guess, around branding or identity, running a business, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
You do lots of different things. So don't hesitate to throw it in chat. Now's your chance.
Go for it. Yeah, please do. So now I'm just building out that wine glass. You can see how off center my drawing was, but that's okay. That's what drawing's for. It's basically to build out a shape or an idea. It does not have to be specific at all. Another great tip that I think I mention on every Adobe Live is that if you have any vector and you want it to be a guide, simply just click Command 5 and it will turn into a guide.
Cool.
Stunning. We love it. We love it.
Yeah, I totally learned that from you in a previous live.
Did you? Yes. Honestly, I went for far too long not knowing that bit of information, and now I do. So I'm just sort of building out what would potentially be the flame, just to build out some structure around it anyway. All right, so now this is where the fun part comes in. I'm actually going to just cut that. I am going to lock that guide layer and paste onto the artwork layer. So this is a really, really fun tool to use if you're creating an object or a vector that is completely symmetrical. And in this case, this won't be entirely symmetrical, but it will somewhat be symmetrical. So we can start to build it out within this symmetry, we'll call it.
This is cool. It's looking like a space horse now at the moment.
He is. He's looking like a space horse. I'm actually going to take the majority of these. I'm actually going to not take we're just going to focus on the horse's face to start with. And put them in there. I don't know if you guys saw what I did there, but I just literally cut them from the artboard, and then I pasted it in place so that I get that vector within the mirrored symmetry here. And now this is when we're going to start to build out the actual shape of the horse, which we love. Let's actually go back, and now I'm just going to cleanly get rid of actually most of these on the guides. I'm going to turn that back on. There we go. We've got them again. I'm in the wrong layer. The panic. You guys won't be able to see this either, but I'm in my house and it's very hot in this room. So if I start sweating, that is why.
I can see my camera going redder and redder as we're talking about.
Yeah, if I start looking ridiculously hot, that is why.
It's hot down here, folks. For our American friends, hope you're staying warm. Yeah, it's very hot down here.
Mm-hmm. It is very warm. So you can see I've just been removing what I don't need. But this tool is so fun to build out your shapes.
Can you remind us what this tool is again? Just for those who may have missed.
This is the mirror tool. So to use it, you can just mirror any vector that you've got at first. So a quick little example, let's draw a circle. Let's just use the tool again. We're going to come down, repeat, mirror. And then if you change the center line, this is where it's going to be mirrored. So this is an awesome way to create certain patterns or maybe, really symmetrical designs. It's such a cool way to create those and flesh them out before you finalize anything.
That's awesome.
We can actually get rid of this shape because we don't need him anymore. So we're starting to build out the horse's head, his head, we'll call it. All right. I want to join these two paths. We're just going to come over here and, where is it gone? I've lost it. There it is.
Have to go fishing.
Yeah, we're going fishing. We've got the join tool. There we go. So you can see it's joined that path really, really easy. It almost just needs to be smoothed out a bit because it's a bit not the nicest looking line there. Okay, cool.
So when you joined it, it added quite a few points to that. So you just smoothed it out to minimize the points, so it's a little bit more gradual.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to make it. It's actually not. It's not quite looking as clean as I want it to. Okay, we're getting somewhere. People. All right. So you can start to see his face is actually being built out. So I'm going to go out of the mirrored shape. And I'm gonna, you know what? I just got rid of all my my wine glass circles before to create the wine glass. But let's just quickly create the wine glass again. So you can see once you start to establish the fact that vectors, illustrations, shapes, what they are just built up of shapes, you can really start to create your let's actually group this, and we're going to do the same thing. Mirror. Does anyone else sing their actions?
Yeah,
sometimes I do.
Yeah, all the time.
I don't know if it's a good habit or not. I'm not a very good singer, so.
Back to the shapes thing. Alessandro says, I like that it starts with simple shapes to find the structure of the logo. I find similarities to illustrators that will often come on Adobe Live, and they'll sort of break down their initial sketching, trying to draw an arm at a strange angle. They're like, well, I've got to get these circle joints right. It's basically a cylinder and then another cylinder. And, the hand is, a giant rectangle really. And then you've got all these other rectangles coming off it. And I find similarity with what you were doing here. And I guess it is a form of illustration.
Definitely, yeah. And I think with brand marks as well, it's the same kind of technique. You can just break it down into shapes, especially when, because it is a horse, I'm technically drawing what should be a horse's face. Um, but I mean, you can keep going and just perfecting until you're really happy with it. So let's just quickly come into the flame and somewhat create this flame that's been that I've started creating here. Let's just, cool. So I'm just going to come and start. We're just pushing a few pixels around here. It's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good.
That is cool. I like that. You use the circle for the negative space as well as the space for the base of the flame.
Yeah, I'm just trying to basically create the flame in a way where it's somewhat symmetrical and just like makes sense. And we're just piecing it all together. This one isn't. I'm actually going to delete that. Let's just go freehand. Let's go freehand, which I know not everyone can do either. But you know what's kind of funny about this? I do end up removing the flame, but that's cool. We're just going to start creating it to see how we get on.
Nice.
Cool. I saw, yeah, you did a live with James Barnard the other day, and I feel like he's the expert in shortcuts, hotkeys.
And that was what the whole stream was all about. So yeah. And it's funny because I often, during a stream like that, I think, oh my God, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up all these shortcuts. And then lo and behold, working on this branding project I was talking about the other day, and I was sitting there using the guides to just drag everything into the center of the document. I just thought, James, I wish I actually made that simple shortcut, because I had to do it about 20 times in that document. And
for sure.
Just, you know, yeah, I was kicking myself that I hadn't actually set that up properly.
There's he is good at his hotkeys. So what I tend to do when I start to create logos, brand identities, I literally just take the design that I've made and I duplicate it, which is not doing it today. There we go. And I will just keep duplicating it every time I want to make a new variation, basically. The reason why I do this is purely coming down to my guides. I feel like something's going on with my guides. They keep randomly just disappearing. The reason why I do this is so that we can actually just revert back to a version before if it's not quite right. So I'm not loving the flame, so I'm going to actually delete the flame, and we're actually just going to go straight across. But we have to now, we're going to expand. Actually, before we do that, we're going to just start to adjust this. So this is honestly one of the best ways to make logos, to make brand identities, is just keep refining. But whenever you need to refine it in a way where it's adjusting it quite a lot, I would recommend copying it, duplicating it, and then making that refinement, because you might find you want to go back to another variation.
Especially with time, right? Like you might sort of sit down and dedicate an hour to kind of getting these pixels down, these vectors down, and then you walk away and you sort of come back and you think, oh, I've done something from that first iteration to this last one, and I actually like the first one for some reason.
For sure. And I think as well, this is looking more like a dog than it is a horse. I think it's because the ears are turned in.
When you retroactively change the brief and you're like, it's a dog.
Yeah, it's a dog now. He's looking more and more like a dog, but that's cool. Let's see my original sketch. I am.
Again, similarity to illustrators that will come on and try to draw certain animals from memory, and then get as far as they can, and they think, you know what, I'm going to have to search what a gopher actually looks like, and then look it up and go, oh, they look totally different. Now, hang on, I've just got to make these ears smaller, make these eyes more high or something. And as soon as they do that, it's like, oh yeah, that's a gopher.
Yeah, like even in this case, let's just Google horse head. You know, you just saw that I did actually Google it from front. just to get some inspiration.
You can see the blaze down the front.
Yeah, you can see the blaze. Yep, there you go. There's the blaze. I actually think he's too shaped around here. He's not slim enough in his face. So you can really keep refining until you're like really, really happy with the design style.
Yeah.
I even think maybe sharpening it to actually make everything a little bit, maybe I've gone too sharp now, a little bit more refined. It's an interesting one because it does, this is why logo design and things can take so long, because it's all about the refinements and making sure everything is like exactly how you want it to be.
Yeah.
This area of the face just does not seem to be working for me today, but that's cool. Oh, my headphones coming out. I'm too hot. Oh dear. Okay, we're kind of getting there. Actually, there. That looks a little bit better. All right. I'm going to move on. Otherwise, we could be here all day with the horse head.
I think it looks great.
All day. All right. I wonder, maybe I turn my, I've hidden my, nope, that's not right, guys. Oh. I don't know what's happening. I'm getting some.
Is something locked?
Well, that's what I'm trying to work out. Sorry, guys. I'm just
because
mute.
the guide is there. I'm trying to work it out too because the guides are there, but then they disappear for some reason.
I feel like I thought it was the bounding box, but I have that showing. It's almost like when it's in, maybe it's something to do with the mirroring. The mirroring. Anyone in the chat know what's going on?
So hard to tell.
Resorts to the chat.
Because when you click something else, it disappears.
Yeah, I can't actually see. See, I've selected the line, but you can't actually see the selection.
Yeah, totally.
Show selection.
Automatically hiding the guide.
Yeah. Show edges. No. No. Okay, if I can't find it, I'm just going to continue.
Yeah. It could be that mirroring tool because it's one I'm not familiar with. So. Yeah,
it didn't do this yesterday when I was working on it. So actually,
it doesn't do it when you're preparing for the live. It only does it when you're live.
It's a classic. It's a classic. All right, we're just going to expand this. So if you want to then start to actually build it out properly, you have to expand the mirror,
right?
The mirrored edge. What just happened? I don't know. Maybe something is grouped. Oh my gosh. Anyway. Okay, let's continue. I'm gonna actually delete this and then bring it straight across because I think then it mirrors the top as well.
Right.
And the thing about when you're pulling together logo designs and even brand marks, illustrations, if you've got mirroring that occurs, it can start to look really beautiful.
So because you have a straight line up the top currently, you want this iteration to have the straight line because it's kind of like telling the audience you're looking directly forward at like front on. It's like a graphic version. It's not trying to be three-dimensional necessarily.
Yeah, for sure. So, oh my gosh, no idea what's happening there. It's like my guides are connected to my
connected to some of the strokes, right?
Yeah. Okay. Ooh. Oh well, we can continue once again. Okay, that's not working. All right. Anyway, moving on. So, I would like this wine glass to actually be filled as well. So I want it to have liquid in it. So we can take our wine glass, which I cannot select for the life of me because my illustrator seems to be having issues. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to cut ahead. So I'll talk through what I've done here. So you can see I created this horse head yesterday.
Awesome.
This is, or the other day, sorry. This was the creation that I started with. And when you start to build out your logo design, you can just start to play around with the different variations, just trialing a whole bunch of different things with the flame, without the flame. This is sort of where I began to stylize it without the flame. Took away the flame there, straightened up the ears. I even sharpened up his face as well.
Yep.
You can see the wine glass starting to form, even like with these 2 points here. I brought them in, so the wine glass wasn't necessarily straight up.
Well, I really like that second one.
Yeah, this one here.
Yep.
This is looking cool. So
Yeah,
to
really
get
cool.
this beautiful liquid, beautiful wine, we'll call it, I simply just grabbed these two, copy that, group it, copy it. Actually, we're just going to do an offset path. We're going to have to join the whole thing here. There we go. So I've just joined the whole shape up. So I'm just creating an offset path so that it shrinks it almost, but it shrinks it
Wow.
perfectly. Yeah.
Awesome.
So that I can create that shape. I'm not quite getting it where I want it to be. Let's go 1.2. Looks pretty good. Remove that exterior. You can see the shape building out.
That's awesome. And was that line work? They were lines when you did the offset path, or were they full shapes at that point that had been expanded?
They were just lines. Right. So I wanted to just go ahead and delete the exterior line and keep that interior here. And then to get that nice wave effect, all I've done is just brushed on a line here, select the two, and remove with my favorite, the shape builder tool. Exactly. I'm a big fan of the shape builder tool.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, no, we love that.
Love the offset path. I always love, reminds me of building things out as shapes, and the symmetry tool. You know that it's right from the get-go. So when you copy and paste and copy and paste and copy, you know that the foundations are solid. You know that it's like mathematically correct kind of thing. And the offset is the same, because you could do that by hand, particularly if you had like a stylus or something, or you could do that vector art, but you might be off by a couple of pixels, or the angle might be a little bit off, but you know that once you got that right, that it is offset precisely where you want it.
Exactly. No, I completely agree. It was interesting. I thought about Mexican dishes and Mexican drinks, and a lot of them aren't in a wine glass. I thought about having it as a cocktail glass within his head, but then I created this and I felt like he was wearing some kind of sci-fi mask.
Totally, 100%. This is cyberpunk. This is Blaze, the cyberpunk horse.
Yeah, exactly. This is him. Yep. So I was like, that's a no-go. And I think it's important when you're creating these logos to do so many variations, like I said, but even like invert them, add color in certain places. Like I just used the shape builder tool to build out that color. And then I was adjusting various types of his sort of bottom lip as well to see what would work and what didn't. I even trialed just without it. You can see I sharpened his face up quite a lot here rather than the curved edge there. And you just keep building him out until you're really happy with him. But every time I make a variation, I will duplicate him so that I can just go back and refer to the one that I actually want to head forward with. Yeah. So from here, I actually felt like, oh my gosh, there's so many things to talk about when it comes to brand identity. This was the point that I actually started to think about fonts for the word Pink Pony.
Oh my gosh, I was about to ask you, like, at what point do you start thinking about fonts? Because you're going so deep in like the iconography.
Yeah. So because I wanted a really clean cut brand mark, I built it out to a point where I was like, okay, this is where I think I start to require the font styling and how that looks. So we're just going to head over here. So I actually, just prior to this, pulled together a bunch of fonts. With fonts, I'm really inspired by artwork that you can see out and about and previous work that you've done. But obviously one of the new features that I love that has been so helpful for font finding is the retype feature. So let's take this font here. So again, this is just a reference image. This was created by someone else, but I just want to use this as an example. So we have our reference image. Then we're going to go into window, retype, and come down to enter retype. And let's see what it cooks up. Hopefully it gives us a great result. And it comes out with a bunch of Adobe fonts that are really similar, something that's along the same lines of that styling of font. And then I actually went through and found the ones that I really wanted to utilize. There's some really good ones in here that look very similar in terms of the styling. It's pretty amazing how accurate it can get it. So I'd highly recommend the retype feature for inspiration of fonts.
That's a great example as well, considering that it had the accent there in all of the examples. Like it recognized the, just the ligature.
Yeah,
I'm live. Is that the wrong word? Anyway, it recognized that shape at the top of the letter.
Yeah, the shape. That's the one. And so I actually pulled together these two that I really loved. I thought these were beautiful. But I did play around with a whole bunch of other styles of fonts for this brand because it had this like kind of Mexican inspired feel to it. I wanted it to be a little bit quirky as well. So I tried, this is where actually Kate came in. I'm sort of showcasing what I've been designing. But what would happen at this point, I would, take the brand mark that I had been working on, the one that I was reasonably happy with. And then I would let's make a new artboard so we're not getting all confused by everything else. And I would start to play around with the styling of font. So you can bring in a couple of examples that you love and just trial them. It's all about trial and error when it comes to things like typography and what you're choosing and just making those variations over and over again. So at this point, this is where, when I was pulling this together, I was like, this logo is going to be so unbalanced because the horse head is so long. And I just felt like the balance between the top half and the bottom half was not going to work out, which is why I actually ended up moving it into a badge style symbol where it was kind of like held by a couple of shapes itself.
Right.
So that's when I brought in or tried to bring in a circle. I tried an oval as well. And you can see it kind of being brought out through here. And then again, the arch as well. And also this was inspired by a barn, funnily enough, horses, barns. Woohoo.
I like that.
So bringing these together actually allowed me to feel like the design wasn't so unbalanced compared to these styles. Like if we bring these down and then trial a couple of variations here, all about trial and error. Oh, got to group that one. You can see it is being built out to be a little bit more balanced. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. All right. So there's so many different directions that I'm thinking about going here right now. At this point, you could also start playing around with the typography of the font for the logo. So I actually preferred this style. I wanted this style, but it wasn't exactly how I wanted it to feel. I felt this one was more aligned, but I loved the ends in this design. Yeah, I thought these were really nice. So I started just playing around with, let's just go, the tracking there.
Yeah, for something like a logo, like the uniqueness of that N shape is quite interesting to make it just that little bit more recognizable, right?
Definitely. So you can take, one of my favorite little tips is taking inspiration from multiple different types and then utilizing them or customizing your type to form kind of a really unique look. So this was the style that I really liked of the N. So let's just use this as a bit of a guide and example. All right. So within this, I actually then wanted to create that kind of N within this pink pony N itself. Now, thinking about the balance that I spoke about earlier, I actually found there's symmetry with the K and the N.
Okay.
Because I thought it would be a really cool idea to flip this K with the symmetry here to actually just flip that K so that your eye is led by those two lines.
That is very clever. I totally didn't. I was not even thinking about using that. I thought you were going to bring in the angle, set up a guide, try to copy the thickness. That is a very clever solution to that. I love it.
Appreciate that.
Yeah,
So
cool.
in this instance, I'll literally copy it, reflect it, and then we can just go ahead and start to delete. I love the eraser tool. It's so fun. Start to delete whatever we don't need as well, to just make this exactly where we want it. And then we're going to go ahead and actually do the same with the N underneath. And it's quite nice because the N was really balanced with these two pillars. I'll call it a pillar. Let's pull this in closer. You can see it's starting to come together.
That's perfect. And it's built on
out that shape.
The angle that it already exists in that other letter in the font family. So again, it's kind of like this mathematical, analytical approach to getting it right.
Yeah, that's the one. And you can just build out those shapes. And, you know, now it's got this beautiful sort of double angled. It's one of those things that is quite subtle and only probably a designer might see it, but it also makes it unique to that brand. We're not just taking a font and using that for our logo. And then obviously I want to go ahead and make the N the same as the other. And we can go in and just adjust the font to suit.
That's really cool. That is a cool tip. I hope everyone was paying attention to that. I've never seen that before. Very nice. Very nice.
Thank you. All right, last bit that I will teach, which actually is, again, all about the reflection. I feel like that's the theme of the day, is symmetry and reflection. So I really wanted to bring out more of this like Mexican feel to the design. And I thought about these Mexican patterns that you often see within, let's just bring these up here. Within the style. And so I thought, let's actually bring these into this brand mark. And it almost became some kind of, it's almost like those big glass windows that are like the shattered glass, but it's all pieced together.
Oh yeah.
That's what it started to remind me of. So in this sense, I've actually used the mirror tool again to create this. So let's just go ahead and start off by just making a circle. I'm going to bring this in because we're going to use this example, again, taking from online just as a reference, as a bit of inspiration. Let's go into repeat. And we can actually start to build out the symmetry using the mirror tool again. So we're going to start and just create a cool sort of style pattern. And you can just really piece this together using this pattern effect.
That's really cool.
Yeah. It's funny. I feel like as someone who actually doesn't design as much as they used to or as much as they would like to, because I run the company and I have a team of designers working for me, I honestly feel like I've lost some of my skills. But then when I come back to it and I get into it, I'm like, okay, I haven't lost my skills. They're definitely still there. If anything, I might forget or need to be reminded of a shortcut key.
Right.
And that's all right. That's okay.
Absolutely.
So I'm just building this out.
And so there's tons of stuff here that could be shown to a client, right? So there's tons of things that you could potentially show, hey, this is like our process, this is how we got. How do you decide how much of this that you show, assuming that you don't show everything? And how do you kind of decide, how much you bring that client in for that journey?
Yeah, so with the process that we've got, and look, it's all so different for everyone. I truly believe what works for you is, works for you. But we do a full one concept method of the design style where it's very much all about, once we've confirmed the creative direction, we give them 3 options. And then once they choose the style that they want to go forward with, my gosh, where's my pucker? There it is. Lost it for a second then. Once they've got a style that they want to go ahead with, we just literally create a whole brand identity. So it's one complete package. But, in saying that, we will do a project and it will look like this artboard where it's a whole bunch of styles that we've been trying to go towards or work with.
Yeah.
There's a multiple different variations of things. And we as a team will just cut out the ones we don't feel work. We narrow them down if we are finding it hard to decide which is the best option. And then, we showcase them in one big proposal. Sometimes we give them like another option in terms of a logo style if we feel it's worth it. But something that I've been deciding recently is you can give people too many options for sure. And then they just end up confused. And if you are more direct with your own opinion, that'll actually get you further than saying, what do you think? Here's multiple different options. If you say, this is the version that I think you should go for, I truly believe that you should go forward with, they'll have more of a chance of being convinced. Not that they need to be convinced, but there won't be any feedback or anything like that. You can see I'm just building out this shape. So this mirror tool is a bunch of fun, not gonna lie.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of in chat, Aquil saying this is amazing. I love Alejandro saying I love the mirror tool.
Yes.
And also comment, selecting the typography, I think it requires having good taste and at the same time connecting with the symbol.
Definitely. And one thing that I always revert back to when it comes to like typography or pulling together full brand identity is things have to align with each other. So you've got it, if you've got, this bold type, I found that this type was actually too bold for what we're working with the line work. And that's why I felt this style was actually more suited, because it was a slightly lighter weight. Yet you've got that balance of that wine glass in there to balance out the heaviness of it. But if you found, if we pulled this font in here, this font is far too lightweight for what the style of the brand mark is. So it's all about finding that like middle ground and making sure that everything can connect. And then you see like repetition of these small, motifs? I don't know if that's the right word. So I'll show you. This is where I was starting to finalize the design. Now that we're sort of nearing the end. So this is starting to look really, really cool. I actually thought about maybe it doesn't need the pattern. Maybe it just needs to be the brand mark. But then I think you lost that character and that sort of Mexican inspired style throughout it.
I can see. I can see that. Like if it wasn't didn't have that Mexican style to the like cuisine and the theme and everything like that, then you could easily drop it and it works by itself. But you're right. It adds that personality to it. Definitely.
And people often say like no more fonts or no more typefaces than 3. But, in some instances, I actually think you can benefit from having multiple different typefaces. In a logo like this, I did want it to feel kind of in a sort of that vintage style. So I brought in the script style font with the, slab serif typography and then the really simplified sans serif below as well. And I just found what worked best for the business, for the new Pink Pony Lounge. And just variations and like even trialing the wine glass being the bit that was impactful. Just trying a whole bunch of variations. And then we started to bring in color and such. But, I can talk about this all day and talk more about it tomorrow in our next live for sure.
That's it. Well, yeah, exactly. We have more for those joining us. We have a kind of bit of part 2, bit of a rollout. I think we used that terminology last time we did a stream. It was like the build and then the rollout, which I really liked. I think I've stolen it and reused that before again because it was a cool.
Go for it.
I like that Autobots rollout kind of situation. It was really cool. So yes, we will be back tomorrow, same time.
We will.
It's different times depending on where we all are in the world. It's 12 o'clock here. What time is it for you in New Zealand?
Oh, 2:50. It's 2:50. Yeah. But tomorrow, I think from here, once you start to pull together your logo family, you can see that I trialed. We've got the primary, we've got the secondary, we've got the logo without the brand mark as well, and then even just stacking it in various lockups, because I knew you've got to think about with your brand identities where the logo is going to be placed. So for my Mexican themed bar, I wanted it to like sit on wine glasses. So I thought wine glasses or glasses in general are usually tall. So a logo like this won't actually benefit or go well on a tall glass.
Yeah.
I can show you what I
That's cool.
mean by this. Did a little mock-up.
Oh, nice. Lovely.
Firefly, again, thank you. Great way to do mock-ups. And I can talk through tomorrow as well how we even can create mock-ups. These were all Firefly images. So it can create some pretty cool stuff, especially being like really accurate. And when you're creating a brand identity that doesn't already exist and you want to present it to your clients, this is a great way to create on-theme photography that like is specifically made for that business. And it looks pretty legit, to be honest.
Yeah. And and you own it as well, which is really great. Like you can just include it in use it wherever you like, which is fantastic.
Definitely. Cool. Yeah. I can talk all about that tomorrow, guys.
Let's save some things. I think that we're in a really good place for today. That was great. I've written down several notes for myself and my current branding project. As like yourself, I'm not on the tools that much, but you're obviously far more advanced than I am. So I'm like, oh yeah, I got to try that. Mirroring tool and all sorts of stuff, and mocking up with Firefly, because I think there's a brand new, it's not that new, but I think towards the end of last year there was a bit of an update for the Firefly model, and I haven't seen mock-ups look this good before, so maybe you can share some of your prompt game with us as well tomorrow.
Definitely, that's a good idea. And apologies about whatever was happening with this file. Who knows? Now I can't even see my artwork. Oh, there it is. It just got lost for a second. But yeah, there was something happening there, but that's cool, you know.
It's the curse of the live. How good is it that you had that?
Exactly.
To go back to.
Curse of the live.
That's right. Story of my life. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, everyone in chat. Thanks for the questions and everything. We'll be live same time tomorrow, whatever time zone you are in. Kristy, thank you so much for everything, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Flynn.
All right. See you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.